Yeah, hi friends. Today we are going to discuss about Salesforce to Salesforce integration using OAuth browser flow. Okay, OAuth 2.0 browser flow. In this, what we are going to do is we will create a REST resource in the server org, and we will try to access it from the client org. Here I have created two orgs, namely this client and this server. Let us open the server in the Chrome browser. Yeah, this server org is in the Chrome browser, and I have kept the credentials handy, and the client I am logging in Edge browser. Okay, so in Microsoft Edge, the org I have logged is client. In the Chrome, I am logging in as the server. Okay, yeah, now in the server, this is the server org, right? So in the server, let me create a REST resource. File, new apex class. Let us name this as class on. Yeah, let us make global. Let us make this as REST resource, and let us give URL mapping as my resource1 slash star. Okay, this is the path I have given to my REST resource, and global REST resources must be static, so I have given static. And let us say this method will return an account. Okay, so I am giving an account, and let us, the return type of this method one is account, and it is returning an account. Select the common name from account. Where id is equals to, let us pass this id from the request URI. So I am considering like string acc id is equals to, let us again rest request req is equals to rest context dot request. Let us here we're passing from the postman or from the client. What we are doing is we are passing the id in the request URI. That means login.salesforce.com slash services slash apex rest slash, our URI mapping is given as this one, right? So my, yes, you see my resource one slash Here I have mentioned star so that we will be able to pass any data in the request URL. So I am taking this data right here. We will pass some 18-digit account ID right here. This REST request contains the request URL. So I'll take that request URL dot substring. I want from this URL. This URL will be this one, and in this string I only want this substring ID, right? So again, request URI dot get last index of equals to +1. What this does is this will capture the account ID from the request URI. Saving this class, got an error. Think it's a spelling mistake. Again, save this. Yeah, now it's saved. So basically what this means is whenever I try to call this method, it will return an account data containing ID, name, annual revenue. That will also give account number also. Okay. Yeah. So from the postman, first I will try to show you how this works. Later we will be discussing how to access this method, which is a REST API, from the another Salesforce org, which is the client org. So I am opening the postman now. It's still loading. Allow the access. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll start from scratch, so I'm deleting everything. Yeah, okay. So in Chrome browser we have the server org, right? This is the org that contains the REST resource that we have created already. Yeah, it's loading. Yeah, so what we are going to do is first we have created a Apex class. This will be our REST resource. This is created in the server, okay, which is the org that I have opened in the Chrome browser. Now what I am going to do is I am going to create a connected app. I'm going to app manager. Sorry, external. Yeah, in the external client apps, go to the settings. Here you can say allow the creation of connected apps. Enable this thing and create a new connected app. Yeah, let's give this connected app name as I will give as connected app 1. Okay. Email, I'm giving my email. Here you have to enable the OAuth settings so that this connected app is configured for the OAuth flow. Okay. Here available OAuth scopes is there, right? I will discuss about this later, but for now, provide everything. Add to the selected OAuth scopes. In the callback URL, you can actually give anything for now, but I want to test from Postman, right? So I'll give https://login.salesforce.com/services/auth2/token. So whenever I do a call to this endpoint, this connected apps callback URL must be like this, so that in the Postman I will be able to get the access token and instance for this server arc. Okay, and keep everything as it is. Let us check this URL once again. Yeah, make sure you have provided this callback URL the same thing as here, otherwise in the Postman you will get errors. So, and the available OAuth scopes, I have provided all scopes, and yeah, that is pretty much. Click on save, click on continue. Yes, I have clicked on continue, and now it should populate our consumer details. Yeah, I think I should have get an email. Yeah, is on my connected app. So client secret and consumer key, and I'm also copying the consumer secret. Yeah, here you might having a doubt that how I got the security token, right? Suppose you want to get this or user security token, go to that user record, or simply click on settings here, click on this profile icon here, click on settings. Here you can see reset my security token. Once you click on reset, your security token will be emailed to you by Salesforce, and that is how I got the security token. So these are my credentials: the username, password of the server, and yeah, in the Chrome I have the server org, and in the Edge I need to log into client org, right? So I am also logging to client org. So yeah. Yeah, so basically in Chrome I have the server org. In the server org, what we did is we have created a connected app. We have created a security token for that connected app. We have gotten our consumer secret and consumer key from the connected app. Make sure you enable all settings for the connected app, and make sure you have provided the scope for that connected app. Once it is done, what I will do is I will check whether my connected app is working fine or not by testing it with the consumer key and consumer secret. Okay, First, I will create a new collection. Let us say blank collection, or let it keep this as new collection. And in the get request, what I will do is, we have mentioned a callback URL, right? http login dot salesforce.com/services OAuth2/token. Yeah, this is actually a get request. Sorry, it is a post request. Say we will pass some body parameters. So it must be post. In the get request, we don't have any body parameters, and we will also pass some headers also. In the headers, accept application.json. Why we are putting application.json means when we click on send request, in the response we are expecting a JSON data to come. That's why we are accepting a JSON. And in the headers, content type, the content type must be application/URL encoded. Why we chose this? Because in the body we will be selecting the form URL encoded data, which are grant type, client secret, client ID, username, password. Put the grant type as password, the client secret, the client key and secret. Make sure in the client ID you have pasted client key and client secret. You have pasted the secret, and consumer key is the client ID. Username, now we are actually accessing the connected app of the server, so we have to provide the username of the server. In this case, my server's username is this one, so server username, and the password must be the server password mixed with the security token. So when sending the password in Postman, we have to use the password combined with the security token as the password. So once I am saving the request and I am sending it, and we should get an error. Yes, as expected, we will get this error. Now whenever you face this error, we have to go to the client org in which the connected app is created, which is a server org, which is open in Chrome in my case, and under the setup, go to setup. Yeah, go to the setup and go to OAuth. Yeah, OAuth and OpenID connect settings. Go there. Yeah, here enable this thing, allow OAuth username and password. So enable this thing, click on OK. Yeah, click on OK. Now go to Postman, make this request again. We should be able to get session ID and in the access token, yeah, see, we got the access token and instance URL. So in generally, the OAuth browser flow means the first thing is we will get an access token. The first thing is we have to authorize and authenticate. During the authorization, we will get a auth code, and this will be redirected back to the callback URL. And once the auth code is received, it is used to fetch the access token, which we'll be seeing this later. But presently, just understand that we got the access token and instance URL. By making use of this access token, we will be able to call the REST API. Okay, so let us copy this access token. Normally this access token is valid for a short period of time. Let us keep the access token here and the instance URL of the server org. Okay, yeah, cool. Now first I will test the REST resource. I have created one REST resource in the server org, right? I am testing this one. So here I have provided a URL right here. Must be like instance URL followed by the this path and your custom defined URL mapping. And after your custom defined URL mapping, you have put a star here, right? That means you can pass any data. This it can be a string, number, anything that will be captured in the REST request REST context dot request. Here this request URL will capture from here to every string in the request endpoint. Okay, so in our case, yeah, and moreover I forgot to tell you, here we have to put at the rate http get. So yeah, now we have instance URL, right? Copy that org instance URL, click here. This is another request, a new request, and in the headers what you will do is you are accepting a JSON response, right? So application/JSON and authorization, you have to give as bearer space, we have to give a white space and your access token. Copy it fully. Yeah, here I have given the instance URL, and later I have to give the path of my resource, like services slash apex rest slash my resource one slash here this is the server org, right? So I am going to the server org, open any account record to fetch the ID. Let us go to Gene Point account. Here is the account ID, and I'm pasting it as ID equals to our account ID. So see, so when I click on the get, it should fetch the ID, name, annual revenue, account number from account, where ID is equals to this account ID. This account ID we are getting from the this string. Actually this string will this request URI dot substring this logic will fetch the account ID, and we are using that account ID. So in the response, let us click on send. See, it fetched the account details like this: ID, name, annual revenue, account number. So let us say I want industry also. Saving this REST resource class. I am sending again. See, industry also came. Suppose if you get any other error like invalid session ID, in that case what you have to do is you have to again go to this previous request where we got the access token, and we have to fetch a new access token and utilize that new access token in the second request. Basically these access tokens are short-lived, so sometimes it might happen, so you have to request for a new access token and you have to utilize the same in this thing as well. So this is, so our REST resource is working fine. So here in this example, Postman is acting as a client. So by making use of connected apps, consumer main, consumer ID, consumer secret, we are able to access the REST resource of the server from the Postman, which is a client. Now what we will do is we will be calling this REST resource that is hosted in the server from another Salesforce org. In Mozilla Firefox, in Microsoft Edge, I have the client org, right? So what I am doing is I am utilizing named credentials, external credentials, and principal to do the same. So first I will go to named credentials. We are doing without coding, so I'm using name credentials. See, if I want to create a named credential, we have to enter an external credential. So first I have to create an external credential. So let's say if I want to create an external credential, I have to provide an authentication protocol. See, here we're using OAuth 2.0. So if I select OAuth 2.0, it is asking for identity provider. So first thing I need to do is I have to create an identity provider, right? So I will go to auth providers, or let's say auth providers. See, now I am configuring everything in the client org. The client org, this is Microsoft Edge I am using in the client org. Okay, I am creating a new auth provider. Provider type, let us choose your desired auth provider. In our case it is Salesforce, right? Our Salesforce org will be the auth provider, so I am using as Salesforce. Let us give the auth provider name as auth provider 1. Consumer key and secret, you have to utilize the same thing from the connected app from the server. Consumer key, next the consumer secret. Think I have entered consumer key wrongly. These are very important, guys, so make sure you give them correct. Authorize endpoint URL and token endpoint URL. Do not change this thing since we are doing Salesforce to Salesforce integration. The endpoint URLs will remain the same, and I think everything is correct. click on save. Yeah, once we got this auth, once we created the auth provider, here you will be able to see the callback URL, right? Copy this callback URL and go to the server. I am going to the Chrome, so this is the server, right? I am going to that connected app where we have the connected app, right? In the connected app callback URL, I have to paste the client's auth provider callback URL. Click on edit. Yeah, this callback URL we have used. This link we have used in the Postman first request for getting the access token instance URL. See, the endpoint we used is same, but now we don't want this callback URL. We are pasting our newly obtained callback URL from the auth provider in the client org. Okay, now here see, I have also told you. Okay, we'll come to this later. Now click on save and make sure that changes in the connected app won't reflect that fast, so you have to wait for some time. Sometimes if your postman's requests are not working means you have to wait before you are making any changes, otherwise you might get that. Okay, so we have again we go to client. So in the client org, we have created an auth provider. Now we will go to named credentials. Told you right, in order to create a named credential, you have to create an external credential. In order to create an external credential, we have to create an auth provider, but we have already created auth provider. So I am able to create an external credential. Let us name this external credential as external credential 1. Name, give the same authentication protocol auth 2.0. There are different authentication protocols. Today we are checking auth 2.0. In tomorrow's video I will show different things. So based on the likes, the comments you provide, I'll be doing other protocols and other authentication flows. So the currently you have to select the authentication flow type as browser flow. Next, the identity provider, we have to select auth provider, and once we search, we have created an auth provider, right? Click on save. Yeah, so we have created an external credential. So go to named credentials again. Now we will be able to create a named credential as well. Let us make this as named credential 1. Here it is asking for named credential URL. This named credential URL means we are accessing an endpoint, right? So what is our endpoint? In the Postman's second request, this is a REST resource endpoint, right? Whenever we are creating any named credentials, it has to be the main URL name, main domain name. Do not give the entire /services/request. The purpose of the named credentials is we are storing the main domain name of the org or the endpoint URL. See, only I have to provide the instance URL. So why I have used the postman means I have to capture the instance URL, right? In the first request. So this instance URL can be used as the named credentials URL. This is the server's URL. Next, see, when I open the server also, you can see the URL. You can copy paste up to here as well. my.salesforce.com. You can copy this thing. See, https dev ed trailblaze lightning.force.com, or you can copy this. I recommend instance URL from the postman. That has to be copied in the name credential. So let's go to the client org. Here it is asking to select action credential. Select the one and keep remaining as it is. Click on save. So we have created a name credential and actional credential. Now go to the actional credential that we have created. In that, what we have to do is we have to create an new principal. Under the principals, click on new. Does name it as principal 1. Identity type. There are two types of principal. The first one is named principal and per user. We can configure this. Named principal means it's org-wide. Org-wide users will be able to use this principal. In case of per user principal means every user has to authenticate separately. I will show you everything at last in detail. For now, you have to select named principal, and I am clicking on save. Okay, so yeah, this is done, right? So again, now we have to click this arrow, click on authenticate. Once you click on authenticate, it will be asking to enter a login details, right? You have to provide the server's username and password. So you are basically logging into the server with which username and password you have to specify. It's asking me to verify. See here, I have mentioned, right, this is nothing but the scope. See, the scope connected app 1 is asking to access the identity URL service. See, in the server, go to the connected apps. The scopes, see, we have selected these many scopes, right? So all these will be visible while authorizing from the client. In the client, I can allow or deny, but it is only showing only one scope here. Why is that? That is because we have done a mistake while creating the name credential principal. So let's go to now close that window. See, go to name credential, actional credential, click on actional credential, and go to the principals. Click on edit the scope. In order to get the full access, like individually mentioning everything, we have a full access scope as well. We can give that full as a scope under the client org principal. Give the scope as full and refresh underscore token. I will tell you why this refresh token scope is used. So full means I will be able to get the full access. Now I am clicking on save. Now what I will do is I will click on authenticate again. Now you should be able to see the full scope. It will ask me to log into the server. Click on server's username. Entering the server password. Server 0001. Logging in. See, now when I changed the scope in the principal, it is showing me all scopes that I have access to. See, right? Even though I have mentioned only full as a scope, full means I'll be able to access everything. See, in the connected app, you can provide the scopes. Suppose if you want to access the identity URL service, you have to provide the scope as ID, profile, email, address, phone. Suppose if you want to only manage the user data via APIs, you can only select this. In our case, in order to access REST resource, this API is actually enough. But for better access, I am providing the full access. You can also try with only API as the principal scope. You will be able to access the REST API. And that refresh token scope I'll be explaining later. So I am allowing the access. It is asking that this client org will be able to access the server org on behalf of this named credentials. Click on confirm. See, the credentials were authenticated and are ready to use. So by this what I can do is from the client org I will be able to make the API calls to the server, making the use of the REST resources that is hosted in the server. So now I am opening the developer console of the client org. I am checking whether I am able to access the server's REST resource. Still loading. Quickly opening an anonymous window. See, this is the client's developer console, and maybe on the left side I am now opening the left side I am opening the server's developer console. From the client I want to access this thing, right? So what I will do is I will we don't have much time, right? So I'll go to ChatGPT and ask it create an sample HTTP callout using named credentials in Salesforce. We don't have time, so I'm copying this code. Don't have to use entire thing. I'm using this code. So I am going to client's developer console, pasting this code, and go to the server. Yeah, this is a server, and HTTP request. Yeah, here in the client, the name credential name what we have created. See, this is the name of our name credential. So in the client name credential one, this basically contains the URL of the server. Okay, slash services slash apex rest slash my resource one slash I'm taking an account ID from the server org and utilizing in the client org where ID is equals to I'm pasting this get. Okay, so when using the name credentials we don't have to use the username, password or anything like that. That is the entire purpose of the name credentials. Those details were stored in the principal and external credentials. So I'm opening the log and executing this request. See, now I'm getting an error like system dot callout exception. We could not access the credentials. So it is asking to don't have the required permission action. Okay, yeah, there is a point I forgot to mention. In the client org, you have created the named credentials and actional credentials, right? But I'm opening in the developer console and making the request, right? See, I am opening the developer console and I have made the request from the client org. But this developer console user is normally a system admin, which is me. So for this system admin user, I have to provide the name credentials access. Okay, so how I am going to provide that? First go to permission sets. Let us create a new permission set as permission set 1. Clicking on save. Now first you have to give the external credentials object. There is an object called user external credentials. First let us give that object access. So first go to object settings, search for user, see user external credentials, select this object and click on edit, give read access is enough, but let us give the entire access, save it. And also you have to go to okay, the first thing is you have given user external credentials. Now you also go to where is it, sorry, external credential principal access. Go there and in the external credential principal access give the extra, you can see the principal we have created, right, where we have defined our scope. Click on add and click on save, and external principal access also is granted for the system admin user, but we haven't assigned this permission set to system admin, so we have to assign this to the system admin and giving this access to the system admin user. Click assign. Yeah, one assignment was successful. Yeah, so now I will again make the same call from the client to the server's REST resource. Can execute. See, I got the uh, body from the REST resource of the server, same as the one we have got the same thing in the postman also. The same thing we got here. Industry biotechnology, account number, revenue, ID, everything. See, now what we can do is mm, from the client, let us say we will create a flow, and let us say we will access this record data. Okay, so I will create a flow in the client, create a new flow. So what's my idea is from the flow it will accept I will create a screen flow, and it will accept an server's database account ID, and once we click on that it will able to fetch that server's data and displays on the client. Okay, why my internet is too slow, man? Let us create a screen flow on the client. Okay, first let's create a screen, and let us name the screen as screen 1. Okay, this is screen. Let us accept a text input in the screen. Let us give this text as text1. This is required value, right? We have to enter a account ID that is in the server, and we'll be able to get that data, so it has to be required. And click on connect this thing. So once I get the account ID, I have to make a call out to the external server by making use of the named credentials to get a response, and that response contains the account data, and I have to display that account data on the screen again. So I have to create a new action, make use of the HTTP callout we have here. Let's name it as HTTP callout 1. The name credential I have to use. Click on next. HTTP callout method 1 It is a get method, right? We have described it as @http get in the server. See, this is http get. So I am using get. The URL path you have to use same as the postman's endpoint. Services slash you have to keep the first forward slash and remove everything, and id we are passing from the screen, right? So I am passing the id. When once I type in brackets the id and click on somewhere, it will show the other options, like what this id type is. Id is a string, right? It is account id. Next, click on next. Use example response. Here it is asking. We are using no code integration, right? So you will give a basic example response of how our response looks like. My internet is slow, so mine is loading. So here our endpoint is giving the response like this. So copy this entire JSON and paste it here. Click on review. You can change annual revenue can be decimal, I think. So let us double cross check the data types are correct. Click on save. It's saved, and now it is asking like the ID we are providing, right? From where we are providing? We are providing from the screen one, right? So go to screen components, text one, yeah. Next, click on done. Yeah, name this action as action 1. On done. Yeah, so what happens is we have to display that data, right? Just give this as screen 2. We have to display text 2. So what are the things that we are getting in the response? Account ID, account name, so outputs from action 1. 200 means positive response. See, 200 means positive response. So to 200 we have the id, set up the id. Outputs from action 1, 200, select name. Next is annual revenue, 100 annual revenue. Suppose let us say you are not getting some of this fields. That means in the while in the REST resource, the query you haven't included these fields. That's why these are not coming. Account number, industry, test. Yes. Let's make these as code. Click on done. Connect this thing. Can't save. Let us name this as flow1. Let's debug this thing. Give any server account ID. Go to the client flow on debug on run. Just give the input variable input. This flow is fetching that data correctly. So this flow I am activating. Yeah, now go to the object manager. Contact, fields and relationships, no buttons. I'll click off a button in the contact record. I will invoke this flow and show that response. So I'm selecting the ones that fit the flow. Label invoke server rest resource. Page layout, contact layout, first override, let us override this and dragging this, pasting on the first place, click on save. Now I am going into contact record in the client org. See, I'll be able to see the invoke servers rest resource. I'm clicking on this and it is asking me to insert any text data from the server, right? So I'm going into server. Let us give a new account ID this time. So I will give this express logistics and transport ID from server in the client orgs flow as an input and click on next. We'll do a HTTP callout using our REST resource and name credentials, and it will fetch the data. And this is how we'll do it. And the other thing I forgot to mention you is in the client we have described the name credentials and in principle, right? See, I'm going to external credential, the name principal, everything. See here, I have given the scope as full space refresh token. Suppose if I haven't utilized the refresh token and save this thing, what happens is the client will, so whenever I click on authenticate here, we are entering the server username and password, right? Once it is done, we will get an access token, and the client org will be able to utilize that access token to make the API calls of the server. Okay, and that access token is only valid for a certain amount of time, and we also can define that time. I am showing you now, but I am once it is expired means every time the user has to go to the principal and click on authenticate, and to get that access token he has to click on authenticate every time. So in order to avoid that, we have to use the scope as refresh token. Once we include refresh underscore token as a scope here, what will happen is whenever this client makes the authentication to the server, it will get the access token along with the refresh token. The access token will be expired soon, but suppose whenever this user, even though the access token is expired, so when the user is again making an API call to that server, this client will be able to use the refresh token, and by using this refresh token it will be able to get a new access token and access the server. User don't need to click on authenticate again and again. That is the use of refresh token. And suppose let us say uh, I am not using the refresh token scope and I'm saving this thing, and I click on authenticate. So what happens, see, when I click on authenticate without the refresh token, I will show you what happens. I am entering the server's credentials. See what I did, I removed the refresh token from the scope of the principal, right? So whenever I go to the server connected app, there is a thing called manage. Whenever you go to manage, and in this we have a thing called edit policies. Click on edit policies. Under the edit policies, see there is a timeout value, right? This timeout value, let us say I am giving as 15 minutes. So let us say I have given as this session timeout is 15 minutes, and I will click on save. So this connected app timeout is now 15 minutes. So at the time we have authenticated the principal, it was the timeout was none, right? So our access token will be valid for a lot of time. So let me authenticate again. So now our connected app settings in the server the timeout value is set to 15 minutes. Now when I click on login, what happens is first it will authorize. Authorize means the server app we have to authorize and authenticate it. The first step is authentication. See, the first it is asking authentication. Whether when we click on confirm, what happens is it will pass the access token to the redirect URI that is described in the client. The connected apps callback URL. To that URL, this access token will be given, and this time the access token is only valid up to 15 minutes. This is because in the connected app edit policies we have set the session timeout as 15 minutes. So what happens is from the client we are authenticated only for 15 minutes. After that 15 minutes the session for that user will be timed out, and that access token that was issued earlier will be invalid. So that's why we can choose how much time that access token can work, and moreover that is why we will use refresh token in the name principle. So in the client, let us say if you are editing it and again passing as refresh underscore token, clicking on save. Yeah, I also forgot to tell you that when you have now given and authenticated this principal using the 15-minute timeout value, right? So after the 15 minutes, suppose you are calling this flow, you will get an invalid or some error. Now it is working, but after some time, after 15 minutes, if you try to access this flow, you will get session ID invalid. Okay, now what I am going to do is I am going into the principal, editing this principal and giving the refresh token. So refresh token means even though if the access token expires, this refresh token scope means it will automatically get a new access token and utilizes it for making the call out to the endpoint. So users don't need to worry about the timeout expiry. But this refresh token also we can control in the server. See, we have options like refresh token is valid until revoked. Suppose if a refresh token we want to revoke, or we can also make that expire using this things. You can test it one by one, and yeah. And yeah, in the name credential under the name principal, suppose let's say I'm creating another name principal, and I have told you right, and there is another thing called per user principal. What this means is we have used named principal, right? So this means for the entire organization by default, in order to access this named credential, that user must have access to this named credential, and he will be able to do that calls using the access token issued to this org by default principal. In case of the per user principal, each and every user will get a different authentic access tokens and refresh tokens. That's how it works. And if you define using per user as named principal, you have to in the policies what you have to do is you have to use admin approved users are pre-authorized. Click on OK, and you when you select this admin approved users are pre-authorized and click on save, you have to select the profile and permission sets. Suppose you are from the client, you are uh, authenticating, right? That means the server's admin user. You have to give that thing here, save, and also the permission set. If you create a permission set, also you have to give that. We can create a permission set in server as well. This is server, right? So I will create server permission set to 1. Click on save. Connected app. So whenever you under the edit policies, you click on that and uh, change this to admin approved users are pre-authorized, then only you'll be able to see the profile and permission set option under the connected app. I have created a profile and given it. Now you can see the permission set, right? I have also given this connected app and that policy access to this profile and permission set. Now have to assign this permission set to the admin user as well. Since I'm using the admin credentials of the server or to authenticate from the client, I have to give this permission set to the admin user. So if in the name of credential, if I use per user authentication, that means I will be able to use the server's any user record data that is defined or approved by the admins. So that username and password I can use that in the clients. That means we have many user record, right, with different profiles and permission sets. This connected app can be accessed by this profile and the permission sets, right? So the users with the system admin profile and the users with the SPS1, the both satisfy this both profile and permission set, that user credentials we can utilize under the named principal authentication button if you use per user as the identity type here. Per user, you can try that, and I hope you understand. This is called as OAuth 2.0 as authentication protocol, and the flow that we use is browser flow. In the browser flow we are using callback URL, that is why it is called as the browser flow. Yeah, thank you. And if I get 100 likes means I will do other authentication, which is most awaited one, the basic authentication. We also have no authentication. We also have OWT 2.0 with different flow. like JWT bearer. So I will do those three things if I get more than 100 likes. So stay tuned, subscribe, comment, like. Thank you.